Hi there. This is 2019 August, and this video is relevant to Rishaba Rasi or Taurus moon sign natives. If your chart shows the moon in the Rishaba Rasi in your birth chart, then this video will be relevant to you. People who have watched my earlier video will know that I have specifically spoken about the Ashtama Shani period for Rishabha Rasi. The reason being that Ashtama Shani is one of the most difficult periods a person can encounter. There are various theories regarding this. Some have propounded that Rishabha Rasi people will not have a severe Shani transit period. That's not true, as your own experience would have been. 85% of Rishabha Rasi natives would have undergone a very trying 2 year period. The good news is that the Ashtama Shani period is ending in just about 3-4 months. But this is a very important period in your life anyway, so I thought this video will be relevant to you. Rishabha Rasi natives would have experienced right now 2 years of Ashtama Shani period. Ashtama Shani happens when moon is transiting the 8th house from your moon sign, and this period is going to end in towards the end of January. That is, once a new year begins, in about 3 weeks' time, Ashtama Shani is going to end. People who are of Rishabha Rasi nativity, they would have experienced a level of distress according to the birth chart's power. That's to say, depending upon where Saturn was positioned in their birth chart, the troubles would have emanated from those houses. For example, if in your birth chart Shani was in the 7th house, then your partnerships and marriage, your relationship with your spouse and business partners would have got severely affected. Had it been in your 5th house, then the troubles would have come through your children. In your 10th house, your profession and social status would have taken a beating. 11th house, then trouble would have come from women, and you would have lost your friends and definitely most of your luxuries, and so on and so forth. But suffice to say that you would have experienced a lot of trouble, and most of the trouble would be mental. The actual loss, lasting loss, either physically or materially, would actually be quite limited. However, there would have been a great amount of limitation in your options, or at least your mind would not have given you these options. You would have been blindsided by various relationship issues, material issues. For that, you could have seen my previous video. So now let's go into the current status. 2 years, the first 1 year would have been where certain options and opportunities would have come by. You would have taken it, and through those opportunities, you would have incurred losses and humiliation. And now you are at the state where you are willing to actually cut your losses and move on. You are now at a level where you can think that you can actually manage with less, and this is a time where you want to sever those bad relationships, poor investments, and poor habits, and move on in your life. Now, the tricky part here is that while Saturn is moving away from your 8th house into the 9th house, and that too, Saturn is going to its own house, it is definitely going to throw a lot of benefits. But before that, Jupiter, which is another important planet, Guru, is moving to your 8th house. So here it's typically like a relay race. Saturn is going to hand over the baton to Jupiter, which is coming into the 8th house. So there is not going to be much of a celebration. Saturn teaches you lessons in a particular way, Jupiter does it differently. So the trying times are going to continue, unfortunately, for another year. And this video is actually a preparation for you. So there is 3 more months of Ashtama Shani period left. And just like towards the end of an examination, a child will speed up to answer most of the questions or try to finish the task. The Saturn is actually not going to slow down, but it is actually going to speed up finishing its job. Saturn is a great teacher. It does not come really to harm you, but is actually to come to teach a lesson, to remove things which you don't need, to reduce your ego, and so on and so forth, which would have done effectively. And so, what Saturn right now is doing is it is going to complete this job, and while doing so, any unfinished business it is going to hand over to Jupiter. Jupiter is coming into your house somewhere in the month of October. So both Saturn and Jupiter will be in the 8th house together for about 3 months. During the 3 months, your troubles will actually double. And this is the time that you need to be very cautious. Do not make major decisions. If you think this is the time to actually completely give up on your loved ones or people who have been good to you, that's not right. And here I mention that specifically, if you have trouble with your spouse, this is not the time to decide to go for a divorce. If it is actually a partnership where honestly you have wronged, then this is the time to actually ask for forgiveness and to make amends. These 3 months are not times where you can use your ego to create a problem for yourself. Secondly, don't start any new litigations during this period, because Jupiter is not going to be on your side, and there's going to be quite a lot of legal wrangling which is going to come to you. So, court matters, these things should be postponed. Take care of your health, because during this transiting period, the Saturnian shrinkage is going to be taken over by Jupiter's expansion. So, if for any reason you are losing weight and you have lost your weight deliberately by doing exercise and all that, you should continue, because once Jupiter comes in, you're going to stop doing all that. You're going to start eating quite enormously, and you're going to start putting on weight, and you may become overweight, and that can start giving you health issues. So, as a warning, this transition period where both Jupiter and Saturn are together are times when actually your decision making skills will be at the lowest. So, hand over the decision making to someone else, or if you're going to decide to do something, take 2, 3, 4 opinions before doing that. So, in the danger of repeating myself, this is particularly to do with your relationships, your spouse, the most significant relationships that you could possibly have, with your children. Don't make anything final now. Do not sell properties. Do not buy properties. Do not sign deals. Don't start police cases. Don't start court cases, so on and so forth during this time. Once Saturn leaves your 8th house, which is in the 3rd week of January, things will start looking up. In fact, your mind will become free of fear. That will be the first clear indication. The problems won't go away, but most of the fear factor would be completely lifted from your mind. You will have that kind of a carefree feeling. You will feel that, okay, so what? What if I lose it? It doesn't matter. Or what if I lose this business deal or this particular significant relationship or this particular habit? What happens? So you will not anymore start worrying or clinging to it. All the bad things that you were clinging to, you would not anymore care once January comes, which itself is a great relief. It's morning here, and that's a Taylor bird making the sound. So anyway, excuse the sound of all the birds around me. So what was I saying? Yes, so you'll have a great mental relief. So you'll have to hold on to that particular time. The Jupiter's influence of being restrictive will be there, which means there won't be any money flow. There could be a chance where you get some loans. Those loans would be sufficient to repay your interest. But strangely, you will be able to renegotiate your position with people. Suppose there were large loans, then you will be able to actually get favorable terms from the bank, from the informal lenders, and that will be a good news for you. In case you had problems with your residence, a place of stay, that will be resolved. You will be able to move to a humbler abode, and you won't have any trouble living there. Your tormentors, who were taking a more drastic view of things, they would settle down to a civil way of opposing you. So that will be good news for you. The children, well, they will be more understanding of your plight, and they will not be bothering you that much. The old texts and some of the videos will say that you will become more religious. To the contrary, having traveled to various temples and astrologers and having done a lot of pujas and narrated a lot of mantras, by the end of the Ashtamasani period, you will actually be frustrated because none of this would have had any effect on your well being. And instead of becoming more religious, during the 8th house transit of Jupiter in your natal chart, starting from October, you will become less religious. In fact, you will find yourself telling people that going to the temple is no use, going to the church is no use, what's the use of being good? And you will almost be talking like a rationalist, because now you have experienced that going to all these temples did not give you a particular relief. That doesn't mean that it didn't help you. It gave you hope, and it kept you away from trouble. At least you had the fear of God instead of fear of the law. So during this period where Jupiter is in your 8th house, you will be less religious, you will be less charitable, you will be giving away less of your time and less of your money to even those people who are needy. You will be very inward looking, and you may get interested in subjects which are Jupiterian, which are particularly education. Some of your money might be spent on educating your children. There will be losses which will come in a benign way. Earlier, when Saturn was in your 8th house, you were simply losing money on a useless cause. But during the Jupiter's transit in the 8th house, you will be losing money, definitely, but for good causes. And you need to hold on to this period because it is a blessing in disguise. The Saturn has moved away come January, and the Jupiter's transit will also end in a year's time, and after that, just after 1 year from now, you can sigh a sense of relief. There will be much good times, and there will not be everlasting damage either to your psyche, to your physique, or to your monetary position. Through various acts of humiliation, restriction, for some through imprisonment, others through confinement in hospital, actually your mind has become purer now, and you really know what matters. You know the type of people who will stand by you in times of trouble. All those useless and frivolous habits and relationships would have end. It's like a huge spring cleaning. It's like the flood water comes and it removes everything which is unnecessary, and the tree which is standing in your garden now is the only one matters. So that is just one more year of relatively less troubling time. Now you may wonder why this is happening. It is because the Saturn transits over signs happen over a period of 2.5 years, and Saturn, being a slow moving planet, takes close to 22 years to go around these 12 signs. And Jupiter, being a slightly faster moving planet, transits every sign every year, which means it's able to complete this circular circuit in 12 years. Imagine a racetrack where there's one cyclist, he is going slow, there's another cyclist, he is going faster. The faster cyclist will finish one round and again lap or overtake the Saturn or the slow moving cyclist once again. So that's what is happening now. So this is a very rare occasion where some signs experience Jupiter and Saturn in the 8th house at the same time, or just one after another. So this happened to Mesha Rasi last year, and Mesha Rasi people underwent a very tough Ashtama Shani period because Saturn is not at all good for Mesham, and Jupiter, which is good for Mesham, came right after that and was not able to give them any relief. So that is what is happening now to Rishaba Rasi, and unfortunately this will continue to Mithuna Rasi also. And beyond Mithuna Rasi, when these transits happen for Cancer and for Leo, there would be some degree of difference between Saturn and Jupiter. So those signs will not experience a simultaneous blow, this double blow from Saturn and from Guru. Anyway, suffice to say that you have come out with flying colors. All you need to do is hold on to the next 3 to 4 months with fortitude. Come January, your mind will be much clearer, and you will go through the next 12 months with much more dignity than before. And after that, there's nothing else to hold you back. So, thank you for listening, and God be with you.